What is happening, ladies and gentlemen of the mighty internet? This is the Falco guy coming at you with a brand spanking new series that I hope will entertain you for months and weeks and years to come. So let me explain a little bit about what's going on. So basically, I like to do a lot of cosplay. Cosplay is a very fun little hobby that I like to do in addition to all the work and schooling and all that fun stuff that I do. So with that, I like to put a lot more technological innovation and special effects into my cosplays. If you look at the links below, you'll see there are several other projects that I've done in the past that have tried to incorporate unique special effects from LED circuits all the way to flamethrower type apparatuses and all that fun stuff. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to talk to you about the future. So, to talk about the future, let's talk about what happened about a year and a half ago, because that makes a lot of sense. So about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, a really popular video game came out called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You may have heard of it. It was awesome. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I've loved the series ever since I could remember how to remember things. And I just love the characters in it. I love the gameplay. And I was so blown away, as a typical cosplayer would, like myself. I had to find a character to cosplay from it. And that's going to be my big project that I'll be focusing on for the majority of this series. So who exactly am I talking about? Talking, of course, about this guy. So some of you may have seen this character. If you've ever played Breath of the Wild, you definitely know who this character is. This is Revali from Breath of the Wild, one of the 4 champions. So I'm going to be taking this guy here and making him a very unique cosplay. And what do I mean by that? Well, so if you go on the internet now, you'll see there are a few people that have built and made Revali cosplays, and even some that are working on them right now, and they're very fine pieces of work. But one thing I'm going to do a little bit differently, on top of just doing a realism factor, really making the character look real, I'm going to add a whole new level of character audience interaction when I take him to conventions and such. So what do I mean exactly? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to be taking a lot of different technological ideas and trying to impart them into the cosplay. One of the first big ideas that I'm going to work on is going to be focused on the head. So with a lot of costumes nowadays, people who wear fursuits or even like people that wear suits of armor, when you try to talk and make specific facial gestures, you really don't get that same effect when you wear these helmets. Most people just get the jaws to move, and that's about it. Maybe some blinking, but that's about it. You'll lose a lot of personality and character when you have only those features. So what if we could take basic facial functions, like if I were to yawn or blink or look around or even move my cheeks, like if I'm trying to do a smirk, or I don't know, I'm horrible at facial gestures. Why I wear a helmet almost all the time, because I hate seeing my face in public. I'm just embarrassing. Anyways, long story short, the idea is that it'll be a helmet that mimics the actions that I do underneath the helmet. So if I were to smile or frown, or even do a wink or something, the helmet would be able to pick up those actions and actually duplicate it on the helmet itself, thus giving Revali a very realistic character, because he's very notorious for being, kind of not even flirty, but just being very kind of rude, being very what's the word I'm looking for? It's a really great word, and it's not coming to mind. But the bottom line is Revali's a huge dick, so we got to make sure that personality gets captured very well with him. Additionally, on top of his head, let's also, look at the bow. So his bow, also known as the Great Eagle Bow, for those of you who play Zelda like crazy, it's one of the best bows in the game. Not the best, there are ones that are way better, but it's a beautiful looking bow. And it'd be really cool to be able to actually get it to work like a real bow. So I'm going to look into some ideas and try to come up with a really creative yet effective way of getting this to shoot real arrows. Just say it does it, and maybe even demo it. Who knows? Be kind of cool. Additionally, looking at his armor, so you can see here that he wears like a weird looking leather corset, some leather skirt, very, very manly for a bird like him, I know. And he also has these like metal breastplates and back plates. Yeah, he's got a really cool character design with how with the stuff he wears. So with this corset and this skirt here, what I'm going to do is basically make that out of real leather. So do some leather working, try to make it as realistic as possible, like as if it was in the actual game, like if I was in that world, actually making the armor like a person would there. And the last thing is with the breastplate and the back plate, actually making it out of real metal. Of course, I don't have a forge here, so I'm not going to actually be able to smith it like I would, in the olden days. But I'm going to do something a little bit more unique. So I'm going to take this bad boy right here, and I'm going to 3D print both the front and the back plate. I'm going to use a method called electroplating to be able to give it that exterior look and feel of metal. And it'll actually be made out of metal, of course, on the outside. But the idea is to, of course, give it that appearance, the illusion that it's real armor. So that's more or less the basis of what I plan to do with this character. Oh, I forgot one other thing. His talons. So if you look there, he's got these two weird like toe things sticking out, and then one in the back. And obviously a human foot does not look anything like that. So I have been thinking a little bit about that specific challenge, and I've kind of figured out there's various ways of taking specific resin casts and being able to come up with a special kind of rubbery resin, almost like a structured, like a very like dense kind of rubber where it bends a little bit so that you can walk on it, you can run into walls with it, but it's not going to break, it's not going to chip. And the idea is just to kind of give it a more realistic look, because talons, are pretty hard structures, but they have a little bit of organic kind of movement in them, as birds are to have. So like I said, the basic premise of this cosplay is to give it as much realism and and make it as true to the character Revali as possible. So throughout the remainder of the series, I hope to be able to chronicle kind of this journey, this adventure into this cosplay, and hopefully I'll be able to make something really cool out of it. So just to give you a little bit more perspective, I've actually done a little bit of work already. So if you want to, go ahead and follow me and I'll show you exactly what I've done already. So let me go do that real fast. Alright, so here is the fursuit that I've built so far for Revali. So it spent a couple months trying to craft this guy. Really nothing too special about it, just typical long pile fur that's been shaven down and partially combed. I'm actually working on the combing right now for it. But the big idea is just to kind of make sure the structure is set up correctly, make sure the art is there, making sure that it looks, it feels, it seems like Revali. And so you'll probably notice here how there's kind of this, so where I'm looking for, kind of like there's like a bunch of shag here, a bunch of sag. So there'll be some pillows that I put inside that kind of give the thighs a little bit more character, make them thunderous thighs basically. And then to get in the costume, there's actually a zipper that is buried under the fur here that comes all the way down to the crotchular area. And you can roll that down, step inside of it, stuff yourself with pillows, nothing too weird about that. And then you're basically a bird. Very, very exciting stuff. As you can see here, there's still a lot of combing to do. It's, I basically just started with the combing procedures, doing all the brushing. The fingertips still need to be shaven. Don't know why I skipped over those, but I'm going to have to get back to that. But the bottom line is it's coming along pretty well. You can see there's that thigh detail that he has in his legs. Looking pretty good. This side over here, not too bad, but honestly, might have to redo this side. You can kind of see how there's just a bunch of jagged edges and stuff, and somehow the fur's breaking up. That was also my first attempt, so don't freaking blame me for that, alright? It's not my fault. It's the needle's fault or something. I don't know. And then the tail. So the tail here is all flabby. Obviously, I'm going to have to make it rigid or something. So I'm playing around with some ideas of like some foam or something, just to kind of give it a little bit more character. And that's about it. So go ahead and like this video, follow me, press the button on the side of the video. I'm pretty sure it's on that side or this side or even this side. And yeah, go ahead and check out my channel, like my video, follow me, and there is more Revali where that came from.